when they are like answering things, they have difficulty in English because the students were too young.
What do you mean? Okay. What do you mean by too young? You know exactly what age they are.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it was difficult for them to write, even write.
Well, you say that, but you didn't actually get them to write anything that we could see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how about using a tool which actually shows that they're writing something?
Okay.
But even so, I mean, they were writing on their notebooks, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't forget they can write in their first language.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably also taking some English classes already. So they will be able to write something. So please,
yeah.
let's stop thinking of excuses why they can't write and actually get them to write, and produce. Because it's not that difficult. But okay, you were the first in the group to go first, so it's obviously a bit tricky because it's always difficult being the first. But let's any other comments, Carla?
No.
All right. There were some quite positive comments here by the other teachers. Can we? Who wrote the yellow ones?
I wrote two. I think two yellow ones.
Go ahead.
It's the I apostrophe M, and she put I'm. Yeah, that's. And
what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that?
Well, it's not correct. It's not the correct way to write it or say it.
Yeah, I mean, students pick up, especially young students, they pick up a lot of language through exposure. So we have to give them quality models of a language to be exposed to. So yeah, it should be contracted properly with the apostrophe after the I. Any other points on the?
Yeah, I also wrote that she managed her time properly. Yeah, she did all the steps, and that I like the fact that she encourages the kids, so she gives them like words or phrases they like to hear, like very good, you did excellent, all that. Yeah.
Great, yeah. I agree. Any other points? Someone who's not Melissa,
Yeah,
anyone else?
I also wrote only one, that she promotes participation. I think it's good attention most of the time, and they enjoy it.
Great, yeah. I agree. Okay, just a few points then from me. Whenever you have a video, or just like with any listening text, set a gist task, right? So we need to check that they actually understand what they're seeing or viewing. Don't just play a video just for the sake of it, even as a warm-up. Yeah, we need to be facilitating their comprehension. I think you needed to highlight the content of the postcards. It was nice that you used the model, but we need to highlight what is the content so that then they can produce the postcards. Where are the writers? What are they doing? Who are the writers of the postcards writing to? What's the purpose of the communication? Yeah. Otherwise, the students don't really see the point of it. So could you also get them to match the postcards to the pictures themselves? They could do this on a Jamboard. Then when it comes to actually writing, well, it was kind of useful that you gave them some practice with individual sentences, but remember that on its own doesn't help them construct a whole text, right? So you do need to draw their attention to the model and then get them to actually have a tool so that they can actually write, right? So how could you monitor the writing if they're writing on the notebooks? No, that works okay in a physical classroom, right? Getting them to write on a notebook, because you can, as the teacher, you can walk around and see what they're doing. But when you're online, that's no good. Yeah, how are you going to check what they've written? Can you see what I've written very well here? Not very, right? No. So you could assign each student a Google slide and get them to write on the slide, like I did with this elementary writing lesson. Right. So each student has their own slide. Yeah. It takes a bit of coaching from you, but there's no reason why these youngsters can't do it themselves if you share with the students and give them the link to the slides. Here's the link to the slide, so you can now access it. Imagine you're the students. Okay, students, click on this link. Okay. If you're Gabriella, go to slide, what is it, 13? If you're Abigail, go to slide 12. Gloria, slide 15, get writing. So let's try and make it a bit more of an active writing task. It's not a good idea to read them aloud because it's not a pronunciation lesson. Better to let them read each other's and do a little tick box like this. Put them in pairs, get them to read each other's. Takes a bit of practice, perhaps, but you know, students these days, they're pretty, they learn quick when it comes to technology. Yeah, so overall, it's okay, Carla, but I think let's see some signs they're actually writing, and so we can try and give feedback on them.
Okay.
On to Melissa. Tell us, what did you like about your teaching? What did you dislike? How did you feel about students' reaction? How would you improve if you taught this again?
Well, I liked that they were actually writing at the end. They were participating and practicing. I didn't like that I didn't give them enough time for them to write. Yeah, maybe the instructions were not very clear for them at sometimes at some points. And I felt well, I felt good. I think despite that they liked it, and I just will improve it for the next class. Yeah. And
How?
Well, showing the text frame, maybe in this case, I would think about showing the example before, like in this case, it would be from the beginning, after showing the hobbies and before the
like
activity.
this.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. after right after the hobbies.
It wasn't. You could eliminate some of it, couldn't you? Like my hair is, my eyes are.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it would be good to have this part here, right? My favorite
Mhm.
and my favorite hobby is. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you had a writing frame there, yeah. So try to make more use of the coursebook materials, because they often do provide quite good writing frames, yeah, that are designed for students of this age.
Yeah, I was going to give them the link or the presentation, but it gets a little bit complicated in the world wall activities. I think just one girl got in, the others didn't. So that's why I didn't give them a slide for the writing frame. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see what other people have to say. All right, so who wrote the yellow ones? Some of the yellow ones.
I also wrote only one. I'd like to point it out that it was a good reading. I think students enjoyed singing.
Okay.
And also I think that I wrote that I enjoyed the class. And that's it.
All right.
Also, I write, I like the reading, and well, I didn't write the next one, but I really enjoyed the class, and I think it was really, well, the students feel really comfortable with Melly.
Okay. But wouldn't it be, rather than showing that video, could you not have shown the actual coursebook material? This would have been just as good as the video, if not better, because it's like actually focusing on directly the language that it's going to come up in these hobbies, right? The trouble is when you're using the video, using a video is not exactly the same sort of language that's in your coursebook, and that's what you want them to produce in the writing. And also you had an audio here as well that you could use. Sure, you could find it on the YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't find that page. I just saw the one with the writing frame that I like. I love my names, but that one I didn't get to see. Okay. But in the next one, I'm going to be more careful with the coursebook information. Yeah, too.
Yeah. So yeah, the singing was quite fun. Overall, though, I think it's probably better to give them a model of the kind of text you want them to write and get them to look at its features. You did have a writing frame. Why not introduce that earlier so they have more of a sense of what's coming? Perhaps a little bit more time to write and prepare. And try and keep the language focus a little bit shorter, because remember, it's not a grammar or a vocabulary lesson. Again, try and avoid getting them to read out aloud their pieces. It's not a prom lesson. Also, it takes time from the lesson. You know, what happens when one student is reading out their text? It might be interesting for that student. But what about the other students in the group? Yeah, they're not doing anything. It's just dead time for them. They're just sitting there. Be better to get them actively to be reading each other's texts. And they could do that if they were on Google Slides. Yeah. But okay, yeah, overall it was all right. Now, then we have Angel. Can you tell us what you thought was good? What did you like? What did you dislike? And how did you feel about the students' reaction? Could you improve next time?
Okay. My teach. I think. I like. It's hard to me to teach kids, but I really enjoy because they have a lot of energy. What dislike of teaching is like I don't have a lot of imagination, so it's complicated. It's hard to me to teach kids. And how I feel with the students, I feel the reaction I think was good. And how could you improve your thought this lesson again? Probably making clear my my activities, my task to them, because when the second one, I think they lost the way. So yes.
What do you mean by it? They lost their way?
So like maybe they didn't understand completely, sorry, the second task at the beginning. So I have to show them how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's get the Jamboard up on the board. Who wrote the yellow and the pink ones?
I like the pink one.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I like that you make the kids participate between each other when they say, when you ask, for the example, Fulanita, ask who you want to ask, and he chose whatever the other student. That was a good idea, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. What was good about it?
Well, it keeps like their attention, and it helps like motivate what the task was, so they don't lose like the concentration, and it was fun to choose someone that they want to ask. Sometimes they feel important, and it's fun.
Good. Okay, just a few points from me then. I like the fact that you had a dialogue at the beginning of the lesson. Yeah, but it didn't sound very natural, did it? It was just basically you reading out the dialogue. Could you, I don't know, record a dialogue with a friend, right? Of people asking and answering questions. Do you like playing baseball? Yes, I do. Really? So do I. Do you like reading? No, neither do I. I prefer playing video games, right? Then you could have a gist task to go with that. Whenever you have a text, you should always have a GIST task or comprehension check. Just check they've understood, right? We can't assume that they're understanding, so you need to check. So I think you did actually give them practice asking and answering questions, so they would get a bit more fluent. But that sort of happened at the end, didn't it, with the final game? Normally, it would be a good idea to have some more controlled practice before you get them to do the freer practice, right? And the freer practice could be done them in pairs, maybe for one or 2 minutes in the breakout rooms, ask and answer questions as fast as you can, right? And then swap. You could also give them a task. Could you find something in common? So therefore, the asking and the answering makes a bit more purposeful. It's not just a mechanical language task, yeah?
Okay.
What else could we say? Oh, I like that you gave instructions first in English before resorting to Spanish. Why should we try and use English in the classroom, really? Because it's exposure. Students do need exposure to English in order to be able to acquire it. You know, especially younger students, they need lots of exposure. So that's one good reason, and you're doing well at that, I thought. However, try and be a better model, because you would say things like, do you like play guitar? Yeah.
Yep.
That's grammatically incorrect, because it should be, do you like playing guitar? Do you like watching TV? Or do you like to play guitar or to watch TV? Okay. Now, most of our models will be American English, right? Because in Mexico, we're more exposed to American English. So what would Americans use most? Is it the infinitive or the gerund?
I think it's the infinitive.
Yeah, they tend to use the infinitive more, but you have to use the to infinitive, right? We
Yeah.
have to be a good model. So do you like to watch TV? Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could mix them both, but you need to say, well, you know, one is more common in British, one is more common in American. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Or you could just stick with the course book model. Yeah. It's a British design course book, so it was going to be ing form.
Okay.
Yeah, but overall, okay.
Thank you.
You did give them some practice to try and get them fluent at asking and answering questions. All right, so let's get the teaching practice points ready for next time. And I understand it's Tanya, Lupita, and Alitzel, right? Where's Lupita? Is she here?
No, she's not here. Tanya.
She's no longer on the course?
Yeah, they are. They were on last class, but not today.
Okay, well, let's prepare Alitzel and Yvonne as much as we can, right?
Yeah. I also will check it with the teacher Tanya,
Mm-hmm.
and I've already posted it on Neo, but I can show you what I did.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. And Tanya gave me the feedback by email, but I will look into it.
Yeah, just talk us through what you have prepared.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to share my screen now. And this is my lesson plan.
Mhm.
Well, my TP1. I'm going to talk about possessions with have you got, questions, and vocabulary related to clothes. So at first, I'm going to introduce them some vocabulary with drilling. And then I'm going to give them instructions like write three you prefer, three clothes that you prefer, and pay attention when we're gonna see a video and tick if you watch or hear it. Like if you wrote dress and in the video, in the song says dress, tick it, put a tick. And this is the video. And then I'm going to ask them to remember vocabulary. What is this? And I'm going to list it from students like to promote participation. And then they're going to write the missing words. If they wrote 3, they are going to complete all vocabulary. And then the grammar, but with some examples, like a dialogue. I'm going to use a real hat, like bringing to the classroom realia. And they're going to see the structure and only to take notes. This is the structure. They, I think it's a good idea to write down the examples and like a controlled practice or only to see if they got it. I have these 3 simple examples, and then I know kids like drawing, so they the instruction is that they are going to draw the clothes that one piece of clothes that they prefer, like 5 minutes, and we're going to play. For example, Nancy is going to ask to Alexa, have you got a... Okay, Alexa is going to have the drawing, but she cannot show us. So Nancy is going to ask to guess. And have you got a hat? No, I haven't. And so on and on. And for the last part is the feedback.
Excellent.
Only to remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that will work because yeah, they'll be working in pairs, right, in breakout rooms. Is that the idea?
Not really in breakout rooms, because maybe they got lost. And but I don't know, today we're like 8 students. I didn't think about it, but do you want to do it the breakout rooms?
Well, I suggest so, because they'll need to work in pairs to ask and answer these questions, won't they?
Yeah.
Okay. You won't be able to do it in full open class, so you'll have to do it in breakout rooms.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's a good idea. So
no, the problem is once they go into breakout rooms, they won't be able to see these slides or the slides that they've written on.
But for this time, they've already written the old vocabulary in the example.
Okay.
I think they don't need the slides, but
couldn't you put it on a Google slide, and so that the students could then have access to the slides through the link that you share in chat? So
yeah,
the problem with having everything on PowerPoint is that it's difficult to share with the students. So if you have Google, change it to Google Slides, transfer this to Google Slides, and then share with them the link so they can still see the slide that belongs to them.
Okay, so I will do it for the activity. Thank you, teacher.
All right, so I think that's going to work okay. Alitzel, I would recommend you don't spend too much time on the vocabulary. It's good to review it a little bit. Perhaps you could do it through I don't know, a game or a matching.
Okay.
Okay, but you need to be focused more on the have you got, and the answer, the short answers.
I'm planning to spend like 2.5 minutes in each one of these slides. For example, 2.5 minutes. Sorry. Only to spend 10 minutes in float vocabulary, like 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5.
Right. Yeah. So the thing is to help them do the speaking task. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a speaking task. So
and the more important thing will be the have you got more than the vocabulary. Yeah.
Okay. So okay, I will put more attention in this part.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Teacher Yvonne, you're doing writing, right?
Hi, Andrew. Hi, everyone. I'm working on my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Deck. So, but my idea or my topic is about food, countable and uncountable nouns.
Yeah.
So my example is about a sandwich, how to make a sandwich for kids.
Oh, great. Yeah. It's like a recipe thing almost, yeah?
Yeah. And it's like a game for them. And in the same time, they learn about how prepare or how make a sandwich. We need only 6 components, and I try to introduce these components in the vocabulary in the first part. And we continue enforce the information in the game with the sandwich, and I have a video about sandwich too. Every part is connected with the other. And in the leading, I decide to use I don't remember the name, but it's a bingo picture. I don't know if you know that. Is when there are some cards, and the students choose 2 of them, and the pictures should be the same.
All right, but isn't this the what you want them to produce?
Yeah, this is the first part.
The
game in the leading.
Okay, but all right, go on then. Yeah, okay.
Okay, and then and in this part I try to use the same food that I mentioned in the sandwich in the activity that continue or before or after the video. That is my idea, and I'm working on it. I don't finish yet, but that's my idea for the next class.
Okay, so can you just tell me again what you plan to get them to write?
Okay, it's a little same that Alitzel put the name of the food without some letters, and they complete it. And in this case, I continue use the questions for Alitzel. Have you got maybe a food or the food that is in the list of the sandwich, no?
All right, but it says here, I'm just looking here, it says draw and write about your favorite food. That's what the TP points say. So it shouldn't this be what they're writing?
Yeah, right. The writing is my part.
So it's like this bit here, isn't it? My favorite food is, yeah.
Okay. This part, okay. The chicken. Okay. My favorite food. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because if you look at the TP points, it says writing task is to use activity book, page 41, exercise 3, and that's the writing task.
I only saw the student book, and I need to see this part.
The activity book is what I've just showed you. Yeah. AB,
Writing task.
activity book, yeah. So it says you could lead in with the shopping list activity that you could do review countable and uncountable nouns, and then the task is using this little frame, writing frame here. Page 41 in the activity book. So it suggests using this, and then working towards this. This is the outcome. So you could get them to do the writing on a Google slide, as I showed you.
Okay. Okay.
And you could get them to do a little drawing with it as well. That's actually quite easy to do. Maybe they could draw it on paper and maybe take a photograph of it and then put it into their Google Slides. That's also a possibility.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah.
So each student has their own slide. It's like my favorite food is. So let's change it. Draw and write about your favorite food. And then the follow-up could be the ask and answer. So you get them in pairs after they've written, and they look at each other's slides and ask and answer the questions. What's your favorite food for dinner? So draw and write about your favorite food. Nice. So just like that. So you just copy what's on the course book materials. It says, my favorite food is. And they just continue from that. You could treat it like a post, like on the web or a social network. So they have to talk about breakfast. They have to write about dinner or comida, which is like lunch. We'll call that comida. Sometimes you have to clarify that for Spanish-speaking students, lunch is like a snack that you have at school, right? But in English-speaking countries, lunch would be like la comida, which you have at 3 o'clock, and then dinner. Or you could change that to maybe supper, because in Mexico, we tend to have merienda, don't we? Yeah, so it could be that's all you need. I mean, it's enough to have just like 3 check boxes like that. So the students read each other's, and that they check that the other student, their partner, has mentioned something about breakfast. They mentioned something about comida, and they mentioned something about merienda, which is supper. Right? So my favorite food is porridge for lunch. What porridge for breakfast? Porridge and papaya. So think about what you want them to produce, yeah, and like think it through and write your own model, right? What could be soup and tacos for lunch, and what's pan dulce? Sweetbread and milk. Yeah, you could even give your own example, right? Illustrate it with pictures. Right? But that would be enough. That's enough writing for this level, I guess.
Yeah, you have a good idea for it. Yeah.
But if you have it on a Google slide like that, you can actually see what they're writing, and then they can see each other's writing. That's the advantage, you see.
Okay, Andrew, thank you.
All right, those are just suggestions, but you decide what you want to do. And who? Tanya, right? Tanya's not here.
No, she's not here today.
Yeah, so she's doing. Maybe we could give her some suggestions. What do you think? Kids box 2, page 80, and it's speaking. Oh, it's all about asking. Would you like? Can I have? So maybe she could use the audio script, the audio here. Page 80. Right, so it's like the mouse is hosting the birthday party, and the superhero and the other people have come to the birthday party, and he's offering to the superhero, would you like some fries? So there's lots of, rather than grammar, this is like functional language for making offers. Would you like some watermelon? And asking for. So the superhero says, can I have some sausages? So it's, would you like, here you are. So the response is, here you are. It would be a good idea to have that recording so that the students could hear those exchanges. The language input then would be precisely those, what we call functional or everyday expressions. Going back to that. The speaking task would then be page 82. There's a menu. So 2 students with a menu, they can ask and answer, what would you like to eat? I'd like a burger and fries. What would you like to drink? It's very functional, practical language, everyday language, isn't it? Tanya, you may have to focus on a little bit of the pronunciation, like tomatoes or tomatoes, if you prefer, lemonade, orange juice. You could drill these questions. What would you like to eat? Notice, would you becomes compacted. What would you like to drink? And the respuestas, the answers, I'd like. They could do that in pairs in breakout rooms, couldn't they? All right, so that's prep for next week. I propose to do a little bit more work on speaking skills activities might be useful. What do you think? Should we do a bit more on that? How about that? Okay. Don't know if I've done this activity with you before. I'll put it into the chat and see if it looks familiar. Have a click on there. Does this look familiar? Done it before? Does it look familiar?
I don't remember it.
You know, you've not. Oh, good. Okay, that's positive then.